Welcome to the Inner Architecture Podcast.
This is a space for high-performing women who have created success on the outside, but feel there is more to who they are than constant doing, achieving, and holding everything together.
Here we explore the deeper architecture of how you live and lead throughout the connection of body, mind, and spirit.
We talk about the patterns that you can't see, the pressure you've learned to carry, and the quiet disconnection from your own center that often comes with high performance.
Because true success is not just what you build, it is how you experience and express yourselves while building it.
We are your hosts, Marta
and Beata, and this is your invitation to return to your center.
And to lead your life from a place of deep alignment and inner authority. So today, welcome to our 4th episode. Today we want to talk about the ancestral burden that we carry, that many women are not aware of.
Definitely, because this topic got many mentions, and we're gonna try to expose all of those layers that we are knowingly or unconsciously navigating through. And it might surprise everyone, but this is topic which is very broad, and definitely it is carrying a lot of tension, a lot of energy, which is being active throughout the day in your success, in your family life, in your private, even bedroom. So, this topic got a lot of charge, and it might be also very positive because it's not like all the way we are just carry the weight of our ancestors, but it is definitely topic that let's explore this together because, I just want to say that this is very spontaneous topic because we were not planning to talk about this, but as always, we go by very spontaneous energy, and the field has carried this topic to us to talk about, which is backed up by our experiences and things that we just shared before going online. So we did change the topic of today to this because there is so much gold to take out of if you become conscious of certain patterns and situations. So, Marta, what is your point of view about ancestral lineages, about the energy that we are carrying forth through the DNA in our awareness?
Before I answer that, I just want to add that yes, it's quite amazing how we get the same information just in a different version, because ancestral, as you said, not only burden, but we also carry the strength of our ancestors. How it came up for actually both of us at the same time, that's why we decided to talk about it today. And yeah, for me it came in a realization that we actually are the third, the second, or even in some cases the first generation of women that actually are going out into the world with our voice, with our gifts, with us. And we are not always aware that we carry the wounds, the traumas from our ancestors, because women were, well, we must say it, were suppressed for so many generations. Like my mother was the first one to go work and earn money for herself in my generation. My grandmothers, they worked super hard on the farms, like, looking after the families. They never got paid for it. They never got any recognition for it. They did it because that's what was expected from them. And they didn't get much support from the husbands. So this is what lives in us as well. and we showing up to the world, we sometimes have to like dig that shit out and flush it.
Yeah, definitely.
I got totally lost in that thought. I don't know if I answered your question, but this was my
That's
addition to
I
that.
yeah. And this is really deep what you are saying, because we all are carrying certain sets of ideas, which even each culture is nothing more than just sets of ideas that we just adapt. So, I think it all started by very innocent idea that we learn how to navigate in the world by being born into the family, which is already a system. And they are having like those survival systems for pleasure, for recognitions, to just make living. And we are coming in, stepping into this family, absorbing everything as sponges. And you can imagine that as I see this, we are not aware of the big world and the possibilities. So we are being given some traditions, some ideas, some tools, and we learn about the world from people who learned it from the generation before and the generation before and the generation before. So, I think we are the first generation that starts to question all of those things on a deeper level, like even the traditions. And I don't know if you notice this in the UK, but in the Netherlands and even here on Tenerife, I can see that a lot of traditions are being cut loose. Like people do not carry that much to go on with traditions, like maybe around the Christmas or Santa, or it's a lot of tension because some people wants to stay and keep those traditions, other people they just don't care. And I think it's part of the bigger movement that we just starting to question how much of those things are really pleasure, or we do them just because we have been taught. And this is with every area in our life, like, us women to having certain role, to not being able to earn money, or to being forced to be the carriers of the family, like, nurturing the children, being mothers, and maybe not all of us like this, so this is very big topic. And I think that the most problematic part of ancestral burden is that some situations are not being seen and recognized, and we don't see this woman, the struggle, the burden that they have carried. And then we are passing this through the lineage, through the DNA to the next generation, with the hope that maybe the next one will be able to stop this cycle, the spiral of certain things. So what do you think?
Yeah, yeah, we were never we were never taught to, well, in a long time, we didn't have, for a long time, we didn't have that connection to the ancestors. It was kind of like wiped out from education. Because back in the day, we were very connected to the spirit world, to the ancestors. We were communicating. Today, it's completely lost. It's called as woo-woo stuff. So we suppress those emotions, not knowing what it is. So whenever something comes up, we don't give it a name.
Yeah,
And yeah, and this is the knowledge that we need to bring back, because that is what's stopping us, the visibility wound. Like our grandmothers, they were not visible. We were punished for being visible. The voice, speaking out your truth. We were punished for that for many generations, and
we
that
still
lives
are.
in us.
We still
So,
are.
so for me, now I'm open, but I went, I had to flush a lot of stuff, let it, go through me. So I can be in this moment right now when I'm actually not afraid to speak anymore or to become visible.
Yeah. And sometimes when I discover this, it hits me because you mentioned those elders, which we have seen as very wise, with having wisdom and passing through like those remedies and wisdom about life, how to make things, how to carry, how to love, how to be. But nowadays, if you see around, older people, they are just basically being the burden for the society. So somehow we did lose the respect for older people, for the knowledge they carry. They don't matter much. We try to decide for them, like on every topic that, at certain age, they need to move to facilities. They need to be vaccinated, whatever they like or not, and each year they are receiving this medications, which basically weaken their system. So they are becoming dependent. They are not happy. We don't have much sun. So those people are being there, lacked, grumpy, and not appreciated. So we've built culture like, what do you think all this Botox and surgeries industries, they are built on the scarcity of becoming older with graciousness and thus accepting yourself, the legacy, age passing by, the wisdom which is coming with those years, right? So this is like very big topic and such a multidimensional topic. There is so much pain. And, we recently lose our mom. She has passed away 4 weeks ago, 5. And, it's very sad because the facility where they are at, even though people do their best and taking care of them, there is no space to stay at home with the family and being taken care of because we all are so busy making money, making living. And this is also like, a very big distortions because the energy is not flowing. So we are being in energy of resistance, not being able to open up for the good stuff from the ancestors. And thus the energy is not flowing. Like, I think if you want to receive something, you need to open up for the good things and for the bad things. But nobody has taught us that we have free will and we can consciously navigate through the ancestral burden and say like, okay, wait a minute, you guys have done it this way. I have seen that there is big distortion between male and female energy. I'm going to do this differently. And then you could go to your mom and ask like, okay, how do you deal with this in your circle of women? What is your wisdom? We are not talking. We are just trying to fix everything. And a lot of things are just being pushed away. But at certain moment, they are surfacing and becoming really uncomfortable, especially if you're starting to building businesses and being active and standing there as a woman. At some point, you need to deal with all those shit.
Yeah. This disconnection, it's like we are being disconnected, so we don't pass on this knowledge. So we don't pass the knowledge from generation to generation.
Yeah.
And like, in this modern world, we've already mentioned that previously, we live in disconnection from each other. Because the power is when we come together, when we live in communities, when we share, when we look after each other.
Yeah, and if you look at this that way, there is so much love to pass by because, there are cultures that they are not speaking about painful things. And my friend, she's shared story with me that, those countries where people were suppressed, like being in a Bali or, those cultures, they've got so much pain because of the Western cultures being there and forcing, the war is not a nice thing, but people have never spoken about the pain they lived through across the cultures with the wars. And, what do you think this energy goes to? It's never expressed. It's never been utilized. And if you do not talk about things, you cannot extract the gold from it because it's just painful situation you carry in a loneliness. And there is no space to just close those circles because we moving forward, we go in and we doing things, but there is so much of the energy that is spiraling. Like right now, we are also being triggered to the scarcity of the wars. And, we didn't learn from the ancestral lineages how to navigate through those times because we do not talk about this. And if done with blame, because, or the Germans, the Nazis, you name it. So we have the tendency to just, navigate through life with a lot of blame without stopping, hearing each other, and just making peace with some stories, closing chapters. I think it will be really of big value if we did close the chapters and agree with each other that we are not going to the drama anymore, but we are able to, with respect, really close some chapters.
Yeah. About the war and what's going on in the world, this is subject for another episode, but it's just why are they projecting so much on it at us? Do people wonder about it?
Yes.
Why are we not having news with this good thing happened? This good thing happened. We only have news about bad things. But anyway, let's not go into that. Maybe we do an episode on that next week. But going back to our ancestors, that this connection before we would meet, ages ago, we would meet together, we would talk about emotions, we would get it out. The energy was flowing, like you said. These days, we are not taught to talk about emotions. We are taught to suppress them. We talked about our families earlier, and I was never taught that I can express my emotions. The disconnection, from my mother, because she was never taught to talk about her emotions. Sometimes I wonder, how would she feel if she actually expressed what she felt, how would I feel if I expressed what I felt to her? This kind of gives me that, also to heal the relationship. Maybe we should just go and talk about it. If there's this connection between women in the family, just maybe start talking about it, see what happens.
Yeah, it's kind of, energetically, you already opened that up space for this. But I have noticed from my own experience that situations like this are invitations. And if people are not ready, you can always initiate the space. But if they are not ready, it turns out to be the game of blame, because people, they're gonna project and why you asking me this? This is fault of this and that and that. I don't have time for this. This is something which ask people to go deep and express and thus feel things. We try to mentalize a lot of things. So we say, okay, no, can we talk about this later? Because now it's not the good time and the time is never right. And, and you think, yeah, I know that already, So in my head, I have put this in the places, but at the level of the body, of the memory, of the cells, of, it's not gone. It's just suppressed. So you can imagine that if you have bad relationship with your mother, your daughter, it's going to be the mirror for you. It cannot be different way. She's going to mirror in you. And sooner or later, you're going to have to look at things. And this I can tell you from my own experience. I do not have good relationship with my biological mom. I barely know her as person. For the last almost 30 years, I have seen her maybe 5 times, and it wasn't pleasant experience. But, she's carrying a lot of pain, and probably she is not able to open up for me in this way. And it's not right of me to expect those things from her because she is not able to give it. So, I know this all on my adult mind, and I could make peace in my head with this, but there were certain moments in my life that this energy has circled back to me. And one of those moments was when I became mother and I've got my daughter. She was so beautiful and tiny, and I was feeling as a child of my mom, and I was really needing her to hold me and to say oh my God, I see what you produced and it's beautiful, I was really in need of this connection and appreciation. and to hold me, because I did realize the weight of having child, how difficult it is. I basically crushed under the weight, like, oh my God, I don't know nothing about life. And now I am having this human creature in my bedroom, and I need to make her ready for the world, and I don't know how. So, I opened up my heart for my mom, and I was needing her, but she wasn't able to give me. So, it was very painful experience for me. And through those years, I have seen these things coming back through my daughter, like, making it's like invitation every time. First, I was like, oh my God, this is so shitty to just be every time confront with this ancestral burden. But in the end of the day, every time it was just invitation for me to being able to open up the space and hold it for myself, for my inner child, for my daughter, and just feel it with respect for my own being. That you can mentalize this, like, say, okay, she couldn't give me, but at the child level it hurted so much. So when you just go there without going into drama, that's the trick. Don't go with 2 feet and just lose yourself in the situation, because you're going to ripple this for the future timelines. But if you're just there and you can just like flush the toilet and being aware of what you see, feeling, and letting go, it's going to really give you the gold of the situation, the good things, because the golden nuts are always growing in the mud, in the shit. So if you want to take them, you need to dive deep, make your hands dirty, but don't dive in there with your head, with your essence, because then you're going to lose yourself, right?
Yeah. At some point, we have the awareness. And once you have the awareness, it's your chance
Mm,
to take the responsibility for that inner child and give that love to your inner child yourself. So if you don't have that connection with your mother, with your grandmother, but your inner child is still hurting, is in need of that love, you are the one to give that love to that child, to give that love to yourself.
definitely. But, from again, my own experience, um, I have seen that my inner child do not surface, and she do not show up until I am not ready as adult to hold the space and keep myself accountable for holding the space, because she needs the adult. And if I'm going to go just to blame and being, messy, and she's never going to surface, because you are not ready to carry this heavy weight and just absorb her with love. So this is like big process, which is kind of new for us people, because we know so many emotions, but unconditional love, and especially towards yourself, that's a very, very difficult thing, right?
I totally agree. This was, I think, one of the hardest, maybe not one of the hardest, but maybe it was one of the hardest things to do, to learn to love myself unconditionally. The bad parts, the good parts, all the parts. Because I was not taught to love myself. I was always criticized, compared to others. And it wasn't only in my family, but in the whole system, the educational system, when you couldn't really be yourself, you had to be like everybody else. But I always felt different. So, so I was trying to fit in. So always, comparing myself to others. So it took a while, a process to finally, and I don't know if I'm fully there yet, because there's always, as you said, our something, that we work with as well, like, our inner knowing, our bodies, but,
Mm-hmm.
from the inside, not the mind side, just, the body side, how we feel with our bodies. Our bodies will release what we are ready to receive, what we are ready to deal with.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
so things are still popping up, but with more knowledge, with more practice, with the tools that we have, it's actually a beautiful process,
Yeah,
because after every storm comes the calm, and it's beautiful.
it is. There is so much gold. There is so much beauty in all those experiences. I see this like, there is so much information packed in each event, in each DNA strand, in each memory. And if we are able to go into places in our mind, in our bodies, and become aware of the inner architecture, what is living there, and consciously work with all those instruments you are having, because body, this is really like the most of the greatest advanced on earth bio robots. We have so much in this biology. This is basically the incarnation machine which you have to your disposal, and you are really carrying so much gold. Can you imagine that when you go out of the drama and you open up the resources certain ancestors did plug into your DNA, you have like database of thousands of people running through you, ready to be explode and used, because we don't have to learn everything. You have these ancestors and they came before you. Each one was born having startup, breakouts, pain, pleasure, jobs you cannot imagine. All this information is being held in this DNA. So if you can go and explore the inner architecture, you're going to make a lot of space for your own soul to go and stepping down, because you will be not distracted from everyday drama in a way that you lose yourself. There is so much awareness, right? There is
Yes, beautiful.
unimaginable database which you can really explode and share and know yourself even more.
Yeah, when you were talking about it, I could feel it in my body. Because as we said, it's not only the burden that we carry the strength and the knowledge. But if we want to access it, we access it all. We don't only choose, we need to access it all and process it and go through it and rewrite our story.
Yeah, because there is a certain fact which is very maybe new for a lot of people, but we happen to be highly developed energy beings, right? Everything is energy, and energy is consciousness. So is your DNA, your tree of life you are built with. But it's like you are having the codes of a lot of things, a lot of diseases, a lot of knowledge, a lot of drama, a lot of beauty. And by tuning yourself in certain frequencies, you are allowed to unwrap certain wisdom, or maybe even certain diseases which are resonating with your current state of energy. Everything is energy. So can you imagine that when you go and explore yourself as beautiful energy being full of information, and you go into unconditional love, and from this place you're going to explore yourself, you can really delete a lot of files which are not in your advantage, and just reduce them, because that's a matter of tuning in and tuning out. So can you imagine what would happen to a person that you will be encouraged to love yourself and not seeing it as being egoistic, as the culture is trying to say. But if you just go there and you give yourself the time to nourish your body, know your rhythm, know your soul, and from this place, without feeling guilty that you're spending time with yourself, going and exploring things, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you mentioned the self-love, and love is the highest frequency. And also, the energy is not something new. We've known about it for a long time. It's just for like some period of time in our history, it was kind of deleted.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't want us to know about it. But now it's all coming back. People are waking up and this knowledge is coming back to us, which is great. And yeah, self-love. That reminds me, I had a session with my coach and we were dealing with my mentor, and we were kind of like dealing with my fear of showing up. And he asked me like, so how do you deal with fear? What is the emotion that you can kind of like dissolve fear with? Like dissolve might not be the right word, but And I said, love is
Mhm.
the love for myself, because we were talking about holding something inside, not voicing it. And that actually hurts more when I hold it in than when I let it out. So, how to deal with it? I give myself the love, the trust, but it comes from love. I do it from the place of love for myself, because I know that if I say it, if I show up for myself, that will be kind of released, that charge that
That's
holds me there.
beautiful what you are saying, because basically you choosing yourself and you giving yourself so much love, and this love is much stronger than the fear of rejection by other people, because I don't think we are not afraid of public speaking, we are afraid of rejection. That's the greatest wound that each generation is carrying, and yet we are passing this generation by generation through.
Yeah.
We are kind of crazy, you know? We know what we want, we know what is painful, and yet we are carrying forward.
Yeah, we are more afraid of public humiliation than we are afraid of death.
Yeah.
How weird is that?
You know, the scientists, they have this explanation that we were one species that were hiding for animals and living in the tribes. And if you got rejected, it meant no food, no sex, thus not reproducing yourself. But I don't think, you know, that's the only case. This is like a very big cosmic wound. And now we are trying to overcome this. Like, we've got, look at all those social media, which also got this shadow part, because we all need to be more beautiful, you know, and just put this filter on, because otherwise people are gonna judge you that you look tired or whatever, you know. So this is such a duality, but we are all yearning for being seen. I think that's why the social media is so successful, which became pathetic lately, because I have seen that a lot of people, it's just like, it's not us communicating, it's like the artificial intelligence communicating with each
For
other.
us. Or
So, you
to,
know, so that's crazy. Like, we hide now behind the avatars, which we think are much more perfect than we.
yeah. You know, artificial intelligence, I think it's something great. And I personally think it's here to help us if we use it well. And I use it myself a lot. I don't think I would be able to move as fast as I move
Of
without
course.
it. And it saves me a lot of money as well. So I think it's great. But yeah, it's hiding behind it. Like
Yeah.
for me, it's important, like, you know, as we show up here, like even today, there was a point when when we didn't want to do that podcast because,
Because of
you
me.
didn't feel well. And I was like, I was actually fine today, but we did it.
Yeah, and
And it's,
maybe that's
before we did this podcast, I posted story already, progress over perfection. So it's I kind of like predicted this.
Yes, you did. And I must admit, I wasn't willing to go online, because, you know, this big shit has surfaced in my awareness. And basically, it did hit me so much that I've got, like, for the last few days, really pain, mentally, physical pain. My heart is painful, because I did discover, I was in Poland and it was the trigger. My roots were really full reloaded of beauty, but also a lot of pain. And I was thinking that I have dealt with this, and I have seen things in Poland that did give me the opportunity to realize how much hurt I was in the environment I grew up. And basically, can I say the story about this beetle?
Go for it. Yeah, it's a beautiful story. I love it. So yeah.
It's very crazy, but I went to Poland for this beautiful workshop I facilitated with a friend of mine, and also to combine with having pleasure and work a little bit. So it was like a workation. And I've got this cramps in my belly, like, I don't know if I want to go to Poland, because I could feel something big coming, but I was like, okay, I'm going, I'm not going to think about this. And I have seen beautiful piece of art in a gallery. of beautiful lady. She's so beautiful, divine feminine, making those beautiful stuff and having those beautiful boutique where she's also selling beautiful clothing with natural fabrics. And I have seen this beetle. It was basically like some handmade pottery, and he was painted beautifully and put it into frame, golden frame, and it was beautiful. But somehow I wasn't feeling that I am worth it. I was thinking like, okay, I'm not gonna buy this. It's beautiful, but I don't know. I went home, I didn't buy it, but I couldn't leave it. I was just thinking about this beetle. So the next day I went there, I have bought it, and it felt like mine. I was so happy. My inner child was so happy with this. I think it was the calling of my inner child that therefore I wanted so badly. And she wrapped it so beautifully, and she gave me really well wrapped piece of art that I could transport by plane. And I have wrapped it in my, I don't know, the most soft fabrics, put it into the suitcase. And when I came home in Tenerife, it turns out that the beetle was broken. The wings were just broken into half. So I've got really like upset, like, oh my God, why this happened? And I went to buy glue, didn't work. Another glue didn't work. I couldn't glue it. And I think it was last Friday, I've got this massage, and this guy is really able to facilitate the space. Ivan, it's a beautiful guy. He's always working with me on my retreats one-to-one. So
Yes, he's
basically,
amazing.
he's amazing. You know, Ivan, he is really able to facilitate the space that you can go into process and feeling safe with talking, not talking, just being. And, he's just holding you. Beautiful male energy, which
Yes,
gives you the
totally.
safety to explore, right? So I went into this process, and I have heard myself like talking to me like, this beetle is you, Beata, because you always said that your mom has cut at your wings. You couldn't explore your potential because I couldn't have much hobbies. She didn't care. So I didn't explore myself. And I just, I was like, okay, yeah, it was like this. But in Poland, I have seen other people having beautiful life, and they were supported to explore, to, try out things and do sports and art and playing piano and all those things I always wanted, but I was not able to because there was no place for it. So I have seen like, this beetle just broke. Like I was always saying that my mom cuts my wings. It showed me, and I could see that he's still beautiful. And he is really even more beautiful because he got his own story, like flying here and, having those values. And I could see his different parts of the body under the wings. And I just decided that I love this beetle as it is. I did buy another glue, which will hold it, but I am not gluing it because not yet, because, I see the beauty in these broken wings and the choice of becoming whole again, but not from pain and trying to perfectionize yourself, but when you're ready on your own pace to just stand up and go and fly. And, for me, it's good to have those broken wings because I am this cosmic girl always trying to escape. But because the wings are broken, I need to go on the ground and try to build with the resources and put it down, anchor my ideas. So this is such a multi-dimensional message for me with this beetle. And I think I'm going to glue them at some point. But right now, I just, I am not ready to glue it.
That's a really beautiful story, Beata. And if you are watching this, you must realize that this is architecture, inner architecture happening in real life.
Yeah,
That's what we do here.
that's what we do here. And
We just came today, no script, no preparation. We showed up. We talked about the story. We talked how we can go through it. And it happens. That's
yeah,
what we do.
Yeah, and this is the space that we are able to hold for other people because we've got so much lived experience. We did also study a lot of things, but I think they do not matter as much as this experience and being able to hold this unconditional love space for other being to go and explore herself in her own pace with the beauty of somebody holding the space and not judging you.
Yes, because we went through it. We lived through all these experiences
Yeah.
that we might at some point think that cut our wings, but actually they didn't.
No, no, they showed us different parts of ourselves, and maybe even this beetle is also representing the whole lineage.
Maybe we needed those, as you said beautifully, as you very beautifully said, maybe we needed the wings to be cut so we don't fly away.
Yeah,
We stay here
we build.
because to share what we have to share. And
Yeah.
because we had those experiences, we can feel what you went through as well.
Yes, and sometimes those experiences, even we explore things, but we also mentioned this before making this podcast that things are having different dimensions when you come back, making the full circle of awareness. And for you, it was the Krav Maga that you used it as the fight against the world and protection from, yeah. But right now, this is something totally different for you, and this represents the strength.
Yes, and yeah, exactly. I came back to training. I didn't train for a long time because I injured my knee and it kind of like lost purpose.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I take it on as my identity and I had like internal conflict because I didn't want to be Krav Maga instructor. I wanted to be me, Marta. And now I know that I am Marta and Krav Maga is a tool that I use to help me with my boundaries. Because as a person that is soft and strong, I need this strength in me to protect my softness. Also, as a single woman, I need to protect myself. Not physically, I'm not learning this to fight people, but I'm learning this to feel safe in my body. And that's how I want to teach it as well. For
Yeah.
women to feel safe in their bodies so they can hold the boundaries, they can say no when they mean it and mean it. Stop playing the nice girls that we were taught to play. But this is, because I do have a very soft side that needs that protection from me. That's where, the feminine and masculine comes together.
Yes.
When when I feel safe with someone, I can be my soft in my softness, in my feminine. But in the business, in situations when I need to protect that soft part, I can stand up with my boxing gloves on. Red lipstick, boxing gloves.
Yes.
Soft enough to feel, strong enough to hold.
Beautiful said, Marta. And I was really blessed to see this process from very nearby, you in this energy of going against the world and trying to shake it and make your way by forcing things to something really beautiful. Like you were born in your own softness, in your beauty, and you looked back at things you learned it and you could embrace them from very different energy. And I believe that this is exactly what we can do with the energy of karma, energy of ancestral patterns, that we can force through them and adopt this new age idea of forcing because we don't want to have anything to do with this ancestor burdens. Or you can really from the place of appreciation and love because you are the sum of the whole, just turn with love and utilize those things from
Yes,
different place.
exactly. If I can add, because my body is vibrating inside right now, like this energy is, flowing through me because I opened myself to the energy of my ancestors, of my grandmothers, of my, great grandmothers. And I can feel them. I can feel the strength in me as well.
Yes.
And that gives me, yes, you have witnessed that process when I was, pushing through life with Krav Maga, with force. And finally, I hit the wall and I needed to be broken to pieces and rebuild myself, inner architecture.
Yeah.
And now I have these tools. I am me, but I have tools
Yes,
to
because
use,
life
powerful
will
tools,
always
and a
happen.
powerful women in
Yes,
my
we are.
lineage
Of course.
that I can, get the energy from, get the power from, get the wisdom from. It's beautiful.
It's
Thank you,
beautiful.
Beata.
You
Thank
know,
you, Beata, for showing up, for overcoming this, whatever it was for you this morning, because I think this is very powerful episode that we've just recorded.
yes, and maybe I would like to say to the woman up there, like, show up, doesn't matter how you feel, because there is always another woman and she will be very much resonating with what you are living through. And you might be just the example by showing up. You don't need to rescue anyone, you don't need to carry anyone, just show up with the energy you are carrying, because it's always beautiful for somebody. And I was grieving a few days ago about the fact that I discovered I was going back to my roots as well with the Slavic yoga from our ancestrals. And I discovered that, I've got these periods in my life where I was secretly watching beautiful women. And one of those places was, on a yoga retreat, and I could see the woman just shaving the legs. I believe I mentioned this already, but taking care of themselves. And I was really hungry to watch them, how they do things, to see them in real life, to learn. But I never was able to ask, like, can you please show me this or that? Because I was thinking, if I'm going to ask you, you're going to know that I'm not enough. So I'm going to secretly watch and pretending I know it all, but I am hungry for this information, but I don't want to put all those masks and show myself like really vulnerable creature who just needs you somehow, But if we can drop the mask, we can carry the space through all life circumstances just by holding the space, being witnesses, and sharing the energy we already carry because of our ancestral knowledge we carry and our personal knowledge. So let's share, let's be there for each other just by showing up in your own beautiful authenticity.
Yes, I would like to add to what you said. You don't have to be perfect to show up. Just show up with a scratch on your nose, with your red lipstick on, with whatever you have. We need to stop being afraid of showing our vulnerable side to others. That's
Yeah.
what we did today before we even started. We talked, we hold space for each other, and then we went on to
Yeah.
see what happened.
To see what
To see what
happens.
happens, because who is there to stop us, Beata? Who is there to tell us we can't do it?
Only yourself. The judgment you carry about yourself. There is nothing more, people, there is space for each and every one of us. The only thing stopping you is your own mind, criticism, the part of you that wants to survive. But surviving is not living, it's not thriving, it's not exploring, and it's not definitely anchoring your soul in your body.
Beautiful. That's an amazing way to end this episode. Thank you very much, all of you, for watching. As always, we invite you to comment below, to ask us questions. We would love to answer them. We love answering them.
And make some suggestions for the next episodes. I've got idea about the beautiful womb we are all carrying in our bellies. It's like something that I want to just sit, feel your way through it, but maybe it's a beautiful topic for the next episode. And ladies, if you do want to hear about the womb, the sacred space in your body, the creation in your body, let us know. We are open to suggestions, and we will be happy to record something you really need. So thank you all. Thank you,
Yes,
Marta.
let us know. We do have a plan, but we will see what comes up.
Yes, as usual. Thank you all.
Yeah,
Thank
have an
you.
amazing day. Thank you, Beata, for this conversation. And until next time.
Thank you.